Oh, yeah. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Building and Grounds Committee meeting. Today is February 10th, 2025. Time on deck is 16:34. We have an agenda before us. How would the committee like to proceed?
Okay. I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second. We have a motion on the table. It's been properly seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. We have an agenda. Dr. Hummer, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. I want to welcome all of our guests here this evening. Thank you so much for joining us. We do have a couple projects that we're going to be presenting to you all. We have some folks here that will answer any questions that you have about those projects. So the first couple items, Mr. Chair, are going to be our regular standing items where we're going to review our capital projects update as well as our CIP project updates. We also have our facility strategic update. So we're working on a strategic plan as we've been discussing, and we're very excited about the progress that we've made with that. So Mr. Davis and his team will share that information with you all. Then the next couple items, as I mentioned, was we have some folks here from First Energy as well as Rappahannock Electric Cooperative to talk through a couple items in regards to an amendment to an easement as well as some other changes to the proposed easement that we've brought to you prior. So we're going to work through that. The other item is we had a last minute change when the Top of Virginia Hockey Alliance was not able to send somebody here to present, but we're just going to provide you with some basic information and then we'll move that motion to March. So
Okay.
that we're able to answer any questions there. And then I think we felt that this was due with all of the upcoming projects that we're going to be moving on. We wanted to provide an update to the RFP and IFB process to share with you all those items there and ask any questions. So of the motions that are going to go before you all for approval or move to the full board for approval, as I mentioned, the TOV is going to be moved to March. We have the First Energy as well as the Rappahannock Electric Cooperative, which we're recommending to go to full board for approval. So with that, I'll hand it over to Mr. Goodwin and his team. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the committee, and also Dr. Hummer and audience members. Thank you for the opportunity we have to spend this time with you this evening. We'll go ahead and begin our meeting tonight. I'd like to welcome up to the podium Mr. Brian Davis, our Facility Services Director, for the CAP projects update as well as the Facility Strategic Update. Thank you, Mr. Davis.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, committee member, Dr. Hummer. Let's start in. Not too many updates on our projects list, our notable projects. Asphalt, we're going to hit that in the spring. Boiler for Sharando starts in June. Plumbing projects, Apple Pie, Bass Hoover in April. We did start the interior painting at Bass Hoover. That's going pretty well. Jameswood Middle School roof, pushing that out to March, the same date. Apple Pie roof replacement has started, so that one's going fairly well with no issue. Just continued projects, Apple Pie boiler, we're starting May, Stonewall boilers, June, Bass Hoover, July, with some durations next to them. We'll continue to update those as we go. Some unobligated funds that were awarded, Sharando boiler, again in June. The track resurface at Sharando and the Millbrook tennis court, skipping down one. I met with that contractor today. We're working out the design. We're actually going to take a field trip and go see one of their projects they did for the track so we know what we're getting for Sharando. Bless you. So here's kind of where we're going to get in the meat of the presentation. Just kind of go over the facilities department organization and what we have. And then bring up something that we're looking to do. So our department is made up of a director and assistant director. We have 4 office staff, a specialist, accounting clerk, an administrative assistant, a coordinator of custodial service, and a records coordinator. We have 3 warehouse staff that operate our 50,000 square foot warehouse, a maintenance supervisor who does all of the work orders, coordinator of contracted services who handles all those projects we just went through, supervisor of facilities and maintenance technicians. We have 20 of those, and 2 custodial floaters. So pretty good group of people. Takes care of everything. We are ready for the snow tomorrow, so we're going to be ready to roll. Here's just a little snapshot of what we did for work orders last year. The maintenance department of 20 techs did 5,681 work orders in 2024, January to December. Currently, we have 170 work orders that are open compared to about 800 plus last year at the same time. So we've significantly lowered our amount of work orders that are open.
Sorry.
No problem. Bless you. And now we want to get into our reorg is what we're talking about and present to you guys, mostly to present and talk about a little bit here. We've evaluated the custodians in Frederick County Schools. So currently we have a director of facilities, myself. We have a coordinator of custodial ops and a records coordinator with administrative assistant and 2 floaters. That would work, but it seems to have a problem. So our custodians all report to the principals, not one individual or one individual team. Inability to pull staff to cover buildings when we need it. If we need custodial staff at one, we cannot pull from another school to go do. No formalized training program in place right now. We'd like to formalize training. We have a high turnover rate we'd like to lower. So that's current right now. Benefits of a custodian reorg, we can standardize training and expectations. We can lower our turnover rate and bring quality of cleaning in line with APPA, which is the Association of Physical Plant Administrator Standards. That's how. No problem.
You're good. Day doing it. I'm sorry.
But so this is how we govern the cleanliness of a school building. So we'd like to standardize it, and we can benefit this. So here's custodial target levels of cleanliness. Currently, we'll start at the bottom of the slide. We're at level 3. At this level, cleanliness standards may vary slightly. So we highlighted that on purpose. We have 21 schools. That means we have 21 different people leading custodial teams out there, 21 different types of cleaning methods and types of standardized and all that. So if you go to one school, it's not going to be the same at the other. We want to target for level 2, ordinary tidiness. A well-maintained environment with minor signs of dust or dirt, which are, promptly addressed through routine cleaning. I think we can get there. Mr. Goodwin feels we can get there if we do this. Level 1, we put that up there just because somebody would ask, what is level 1? That gives the standard for level 1. So we want to take it from level 3 to level 2 by bringing this under the facilities group. So here's our solution. Add dedicated custodial trainer position to mirror current resources in nutrition and transportation. This will help reduce turnover. In addition, it's going to help standardize our custodial training across the division. We want to work in conjunction with all principals, bring supervision and evaluation of all custodian staff under the facilities umbrella. This will help reduce turnover as well, again, allows resources to be utilized in the greatest areas in need of division when we deem necessary. This will open up a lot. Training will go well, schools will be cleaner, and we'll have a pretty good workforce out there.
Can I ask you, what are the shifts to work in the building to clean them? You have a day shift and a night shift, or just one shift?
We have 2 shifts. We have a day shift and a night shift right now.
And the majority of the custodians work during the day,
Yeah,
or it's split even?
kind of split.
Thank you.
Sure.
So, as far as I like what we've got going on right here, as far as the standards of cleanliness, right?
Mm-hmm.
How I saw what you have by the APPA, I believe it is. What are they with the APPA standards? Are they telling you how to clean, like use this type of cleaner on this type of floor or whatever? Or are we taking lessons from our custodians at certain schools saying, hey, at Bass Hoover, we find that, doing it this way is really effective, while maybe somebody over at Evendale maybe doing it a little bit different way. It might not be as effective. Are we taking lessons learned from each different place and kind of formatting that into one, almost like syllabus, one standard, or are we taking something from a known industry?
Currently now, none of that. Right
Right.
now we've got 21 different syllabuses out there. Mm-hmm. We want to go from APPA and create that, but not necessarily use, whatever chemical they say or whatever. We can standardize our own chemicals and come up with our own list. Mm-hmm. That's really just a guideline on how clean your school should be. There are a lot of training videos. They will train you, things like that. And I would assume come out to your school and train and things like that. But we can use that as a guidance as we create our own program.
Good deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm super excited for this. I know you and I've had conversations
Yeah.
about this before. Training alone will help out. And then instead of having, extra load on our principals, it puts it back to their organization, which is you folks.
100% agree. They can maintain more of a curriculum and train students or, school students, and we can worry about the building on our end.
And I appreciate you coming back, because it would have been easy to say, let's leave it the way it is. But,
Can't do it the easy way.
right, can't do anything the
do it
easy way.
right.
That's right. So thank you for taking and putting that on your shoulders. I really appreciate that, and I think our schools will appreciate that as well. So
Absolutely.
thanks.
Yeah. Any other?
Mr. Chair, if I could add a couple things too. We talk about facility services and taking care of buildings and everybody being ready with snow coming tomorrow. I feel like this is really loud, sorry. Our custodians play a huge role in that piece because everything we cannot plow, cannot salt, that's parking surface, custodians have to shovel, have to blow off, have to salt, have to take care of all those slip, trip, fall hazards, have to be at schools early. This is a hard-working group of people. They cut branches on trees. There's all kinds of tasks that if we had the ability to standardize underneath the umbrella facility services, we feel like we could really bring it better from a safety standpoint, a tool standpoint, a work compensation standpoint, talk about 2 shifts, because secondary and elementary are very different and it looks different what's expected at each of those schools given nighttime activities at a high school and things like that. So I just want to give a shout out to these folks and how hard they work in this process. So one of the things we'd like to do is make just their everyday work life better and improve that process.
Most definitely.
With that in mind, what is the ratio of entry-level custodian compared to your veteran custodian?
I would say it varies, Mr. Funes, just like it's all over the board versus entry level versus head custodian. To have an exact number, I don't have that with me, but I can certainly provide it with you. The categories or where they land.
So maintaining a workforce has been a problem or not?
Yeah, we lose about 16% of our custodial workforce a year. So it's a pretty big turnover. Okay.
Any other questions?
Any other questions? Great. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Appreciate all the work you do and great presentation. I'd like to introduce now Mr. Kenny, who's coming up to talk to us about the CIP projects update. Mr. Kenny is our Assistant Director for Planning and Construction. Thank you, Mr. Kenny.
Thank you, Mr. Goodwin, Dr. Hummer, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, welcome. We got our list up that we always kind of give you the monthly update on. It's proved to be just a bit quicker to do this way. Just to give you a little bit of info, we meet with these projects weekly with our design teams and the folks the consultants that need to be done. So we just finished the meeting today for numerous projects that's on this list, but I'll start right at the top. If you've got any questions, just stop me and we'll do the best we can to answer them. Fourth High School, I believe you're going to get our finance department is going to give you a presentation on the 18th for the selected architectural firm that the committee selected. We move right into the Middletown Modulars. We have numerous meetings that we're taking there. That is for the spring. We have got our civil drawings completed, electrical drawings. They're out into the vendors currently. We're anticipating those costs to come back around the end of the month of February. Then we'll award those to the selected individual contracting firms for those 2 projects. For that project there, we have Mobile Modular has their PO. We have delivery set up right now, tentative for the 1st of April. And that work will continue through April, May. Then we will finish our portion of the work, wrapping up the electric, everything that goes with that from fire alarms to what have you. and data, and those will be during the summer months. The Jordan Springs modulars, came off the list. We'll jump into Middletown expansion. That is tracking. We have our schematic design. That project, along with the Jordan Springs, and I'll speak of them as we're speaking of both of them. Both of those, we have the drawings back for schematic design. We are moving on. It's in the cost estimator's hands. That is due back here by the 1st of March. We'll have first round of cost estimating back to see if we're on track for our budgets there. Jordan Springs moving a little faster than Middletown just because of the size. And Jordan Springs, since we accelerated that to did away with the mods, they use a term that they don't put pencils down. They just keep designing, and we keep making the review, and then we keep that in the cost estimator's hands. So that is both moving quite nicely. Dow J. Howard, we have awarded that to PBI out of Glen Burnie, Maryland. We had 2 owner progress meetings there. That work will commence on the 17th, which will be Monday. They'll start mobilizing things like that to get on site.
Sorry.
That's okay. Yep. And we will proceed with that project. Schedules are in hand. We're working with the school staff to have a sequential schedule so they know which labs will be working in for rooftop units, things like that, so as not to have a disruption of classes. And so we'll have that in our hand by tomorrow. We had a meeting, in that meeting today, we also Woodside Lane. Woodside Lane is the road behind James Wood. We did the test borings there. That is in design. We will have that ready by the 1st of March to also go to permitting and for pricing with the general contracting world out there. We're working with Shenandoah Valley Electric to do a claim to get the power poles so we don't have to relocate them, get some easements taken care of and what have you. Gainsborough Road, not much to update on that one. That's in downtown's hands, Frederick County and our planning and zoning department. They're working through that one. New on the list you see here, and we'll move it over to funded list, is the Bass Hoover Elementary modulars. We got 4 units that we hit the ground running Friday as soon as we got the word from Dr. Hummer to proceed. So we had our first meeting and another meeting today with our consultants, with Mobile Modular was here on site today to start working the logistics of that one, and so we can meet the completion by the school year, the 25 school year, 25-26. So that's everything starting immediately on that one, as is the James Wood middle school modulars, same situation, a lot of logistics to work through. We've already had our first 2 meetings on both of those, and we'll be able to show you some slides on proposed locations and things like that probably next month at the Buildings and Grounds meetings there, show you where we're at on that. There's really no movement on Millbrook High School modulars at this time. Bass Hoover parking lot, we have went as far as we need to go on that one. We're not going to do that work this year. We're going to concentrate on the modulars and the fire lane in the rear of the building, so the parking lot renovations will incorporate that when funding becomes available. Master plan for Shenandoah High School, we had a very good meeting there a couple weeks ago with staff and with A&E firms and consultants and what have you. That is ongoing. We've already started that. The next step will probably be getting together with staff for the programming, things like that. When we're doing a master plan, we're bringing in everything from VDOT, we're bringing in the developers next door, we're bringing in the school staff, everything on how the bus routes could possibly work, incorporate the parcels of land that we have acquired. Part of that, we're doing lot consolidation, so we have just one plot plan there for the whole school site, not 5 or 6 different ones up there. So we got that in motion, and that's working. So there's a lot of moving parts there, but I think we'll all be pleased with the master plan. We'll have a guide to go by moving forward. Planning and construction offices, we're relocating there. It's a little project. They'll be back in what we call the annex building. Those drawings will be back to us on March 3rd, to which time, and I have a meeting set up, I believe, with Miss Knight's group and some others down there this week if the snow doesn't keep us away. And so we'll meet down there and kind of work out some logistics there. Jameswood High School, we've been in talks with school staff and Mr. Goodwin and to retain the 6 units we've been using for flex space up there. And so we had that discussion today also, how do we handle utilities and things like that. So that brings us down to our good old Jameswood High School renovation, which is wrapping up. We're in the last of the areas. We're in our science labs, the last 6 science labs. They're right on schedule. I would provide you some photos, but they kind of get tough to differentiate between what's just some block walls and what have you. But so the next meeting, I'll give you an update on those, but they are moving forward with completion for the SPED area, special education area, and the science labs all by March 31st, to which we will turn that over to the rest of the staff there for their use and to start occupying. And that will leave us just with the paving for the week of spring break and things like that, the cleanup around the outside and what have you, punch list, those items like that for in the building. Indian Hollow, we're doing the last of the seasonal testing for tomorrow. That'll wrap up the commissioning and we can move on from there. And with that, I'm at the end of my list, unless you all have some questions. I hope that was not too quick of a report, but hope you got some update from that.
At Indian Hollow, has there been any plans to replace the entryway overhang?
Not to my knowledge, sir. No, no one's informed me to work on that yet. No, sir.
No, going down that list, the Shenandoah High School master plan, that sounds like a lot of moving parts.
It is a
A
lot.
lot of moving parts. But I appreciate you guys keeping us informed on this.
Okay.
And, you know, I appreciate that you guys are doing this now, where we get those updates, you know, not only for us, but for the public out there as well. And it kind of gives everybody a sense of where these projects are. So thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Kenny. I wish you and Mr. Lee had something to do. I mean, there's not a lot going on down there, so thank you for all that you all do. At this point in time, I'd like to invite Mr. Lee to come up to the podium. I know we're going to talk about First Energy has a proposed easement amendment for us to consider at Millbrook, and then he'll remain there with Rappahannock Electric Co-op proposed easement as well. So thank you, Mr. Lee.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Committee Member, Dr. Hummer, good afternoon. I am going to introduce this item for just a minute and then let the folks from First Energy come up and provide you any details they want to add to it and field any questions you all might have. What I would point out from the first slide here in particular is that this is a language change. It's not a boundary change that they're proposing. And then on the second slide, the pole that they want to change out, you can see there on the left, you can see Millbrook High School in the background. They plan on putting a 3-pole structure there in place of the 2-pole structure. And unfortunately, because of two specific easement from 1959 that actually specified the type of structure, we're having to change the easement to address that so that they can put a 3-pole structure there in its place, which will provide the functionality that they need. And we've just provided a sample picture on the right to show you what a 3-pole structure looks like. And so with that, I'll let the folks from First Energy come up, provide you with any extra details they want, and then answer questions.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. Good evening, Chairman, committee members, Dr. Hummer, all the staff. We appreciate you considering our issue that we have at hand. I have a representative from First Energy. I just work as a contractor, so I presented this, and so Lisa is actually my company rep from First Energy, Lisa Marinelli. So.
Hi. Thank you for having us this evening.
So I don't know what questions you may have, but I will elaborate a little bit on the 3-pole. The reason for the 3-pole is we need to put switches on it. We have to stop the current going through so we can control. We'll have switches. We'll have 3 sets of switches on this T-line. We have a T-line going into the Rappahannock substation. And so if we need to direct current, if part of the line goes out, we have to be able to stop it so that we can shut part of the line down and then redirect it to the substation. We can do a backfeed with all the engineers, you know. So that's the purpose of this three-pole. We overlooked it early on. It was an oversight, and as we got into the project further, we found out that we need the switches there. So that's the purpose of the three-pole.
Is there going to be a difference in height clearance?
Not much. I did have those numbers. There's okay. The existing H-frame is 17 feet apart on the two poles, and the cross arm is 32 feet. The new three pole is 16 and a half feet between the poles, and a total of the outer poles would be 33 feet. And the cross arm extends 39 feet. The proposed outer poles are 70 feet for the outer poles and 55 feet for the inside pole. Actually, I did think I had the existing.
Do you have the cross arm height for the new three-pole? I think that's what Frank's looking for.
I think you indicated that was 33 feet. I don't want to speak for you, but I believe you said
I thought that was
33.
on the existing.
Okay, I thought the first was
okay.
32. My apologies.
The existing structure is 65 feet tall.
Oh, okay.
So there's going to be a differential of 5 feet for the outer poles. The inner pole would be 55 feet.
Okay.
So it's going to be just a little difference. We can't adjust a lot because of engineering, because
Understood.
everything has to be exactly right when they stretch the wire, so to get the sag and everything right.
Yeah, it looks like pretty flat spot. Is that going to be where that two-pole is right there?
Yeah, within 7 or 8 feet.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was just kind of looking, getting a lineman truck out there and everything else. Kind of rough right there, but, when you're flipping those switches on an outage. But I'm sure when you guys put the three-pole system up, you'll probably smooth that out a little bit.
Yes, most of, and Lisa can elaborate more, but I think most of our new switches are radio or cellular controlled, right?
Yeah, solar powered.
Oh, you don't even need a chicken switch or anything like that.
No,
Or
we're
big
trying
poles.
we're trying, because it's kind of a pain in the butt running distribution
Yeah.
lines and everything. So we're trying to go with solar powered that you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, that's nice.
In the pictures on the three-pole, I noticed that you have guide wires, and on the two-pole, there are none. There's going to be enough clearance with the three-pole now without interfering with any operation?
I don't believe the new three-pole will require guy wires. That's just an illustration picture there.
Okay.
That three-pole there is actually, if you look at it, it's an angle structure. You'll see the wires going on a 90. And on the new proposed three-pole, it's going to be through. So I don't believe there's any, unless I haven't been informed of any guys, okay?
It sounded like progress is getting held up by an old document, is really what it is.
Correct.
All right.
And if you've seen the old document, have you?
I haven't looked at it. I got briefed on it.
Yeah.
Okay, it does only give us permission for a two-pole structure.
Right.
Two-pole structures on the property. The other one would be off to the east a little bit further.
All right. All right. We send this now or? Probably
Mr. Chair,
our
we're
motion
doing it now.
Doing it now?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right. Let me get to the motion. Yeah. All right. All right, I recommend that we move to the full board, the first energy proposal easement amendment.
I second it.
All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
None opposed, motion passes. Move to full board. Thank you.
Very much.
Thank you on behalf of First Energy. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Thank you both. I welcome Mr. Lee back to the podium.
This next item on the agenda is for the same power line leading down to the new substation. This request, though, comes from Rappahannock Electric. There's a lot of detail here, and so instead of me diving into it, we have representatives here from Rappahannock Electric, and we'll let them take you through this request.
Hello again. I'm Matt Anderson with Rappahannock Electric, Director of Substation Transmission Engineering and Technical Services. And Gary here.
Gary Hare, Project Management Supervisor, Rappahannock Electric.
Good to see you guys again.
Good seeing you.
Right.
Wish it would have worked the first time. We
Yeah.
wouldn't have to come back, but,
Yeah.
you know. So, the original easement, if you remember when we came in last time, it was supposed to be for an additional 110 foot. Unfortunately, the way that was drawn up was from the center line of our existing distribution on the paperwork when it was supposed to be from the edge of it. So it was supposed to be, we had a 40-foot easement, 20 foot on either side of the poles. So it was supposed to be 110 extra. When the paperwork was filed, it was from the middle, not where it should have been. Once we brought in a company to work with us to get all the stuff drawn up so that we could get the easement granted to First Energy, found out that we actually had an 80-foot easement instead of just a 40-foot. So we had a 40-foot and an 80-foot, and I think the 80-foot was from
60.
Was it 57?
No, it was 60, 68 or 69.
Okay. So during the process when Timmons ran the title searches, found the other easement. So this was just an attempt to try to fix everything and show where everything should be and make it much cleaner. So they, Timmons Group is here with us today. They drew up everything, so if you need any further explanation, it's basically just moving the 110 foot over to the edge of the 80-foot easement. So it would be 40 foot from the center line of where our poles are right now. This became an issue when we were working on the easement with First Energy, and with where it was drawn up, we would have lost all of our rights to have our lines there. So can't provide power if we can't
No, I
have our
get it.
lines.
Looks like somebody, whoever drew it up the first time, didn't go out to the field. They sat at the computer.
It was staked in correctly by First Energy, yes.
It was inadequate information at the time.
Gotcha.
Then during a due diligence is when we found that. So it's just, it was actually just, you see where the dotted lines are, that's the pole line.
Mm-hmm.
And the dotted line is where it should have started instead of at the pole line.
Yeah. Look, you guys have done a lot of work out there with those trees already.
Yeah.
I drive by it a lot. So I've got a couple questions then. One would be the bats. Are you going to be able to get those trees down, or the bats going to be an issue
Well,
again?
we don't need to cut any more trees.
Don't need to cut any more trees.
This
Have enough
is
of 'em?
basically just to correct the plat.
Okay.
So where we cut is where the transmission line's going to go. We don't need to clear anything additional.
Okay. And on this, when I was getting briefed, I see that you guys have agreed to do the kind of the same deal as before. It's about roughly $1 an acre, something like that. So $56,000.
Dollar per square foot.
Dollar per square foot. Yeah, acre. That'd be great, huh?
It'd be awesome. But
Take it run like a scalded dog. So dollar square foot. So one of the things that I was asking about in our brief is the cost of the school. What's it look like for us? And in those discussions, I found out that we're going to incur some legal fees. Us, the county. You know, it's not my money; it's taxpayers' money, right? So, in addition to the $56,000, I would ask that you guys pay those legal fees as well.
Okay. Do you have any idea what the cost of the legal fees are, or what's incurred, or is that just Mr. Bryan's time?
Mr. Lee, do you happen to have that answer?
We have not received a bill yet. Generally, in the past, this runs around $2,000.
Thank you, Mr. Lee.
Give or take what?
$500.
Okay, let's do this. Let's do the 56,000, and let's just say to not exceed $3,000 in legal fees.
That's fair.
Is that fair? You guys can live with that? All right. All right. So when we make our motion, we'll have to the full board. We'll include that in there. But that should square you guys away then.
Okay. Yeah, this would be it. Everything would be fine. No need to come back again.
Okay. Well, no, I like seeing you guys here. We just got another $56,000.
yeah, well,
But no, I actually appreciate you guys' time coming up. I understand due diligence and paperwork and imaginary lines and all the other stuff. But all right, cool. I appreciate it. Any questions, Ray?
No?
All right. Thank you very much.
thank you.
All right. I'll make a motion. All right. I'd like to make a motion to send to the full board the Rappahannock Electric Cooperative Proposal easement changes with the stipulation that they pay up to $3,000 in legal fees.
And Mr. Chair, I'm sorry, and add in the 56,000 plus the $3,000 in legal fees, please. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, that's probably a big one. All right, so let me fix my motion, amend my motion. Move to the full board, the Rappahannock Electric Cooperative proposed easement changes to include the $56,000 for the land and the not to exceed $3,000 in legal expenses.
I second that motion.
All righty, we have a motion that's been properly seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? None. Goes to the full board.
All right, thank you. Thank you to our guests here from Rappahannock Electric and also to Mr. Lee for that presentation. The next topic is mine to cover. And again, Dr. Hummer was clear at the beginning of the meeting that this is for information only. This evening, we'll have Top of Virginia here at the next meeting for you all in March. So Top of Virginia Hockey Alliance is a 501c3 organization. If you go behind James Wood Middle School, you'll see a facility there with lots of students and adults that are excited about hockey. And I believe there's about 14 of these rinks in the Washington kind of area, and that money came from an opportunity that the Washington Capitals provided to make sure that we could kind of enhance and allow the opportunity for students and for all kinds of folks who are interested to find a love for the game and build friendship as indicated here. There's an issue that has developed there. The current existing flooring is beginning to tear up skates and also hockey equipment, so they've asked for permission to be able to replace the floor at their own expense. They'll manage all the project, they'll pay for it, and raise their own money and funds and have all of that taken care of in collaboration with our facilities department. We'll work with them in whatever way they need to give them access or any of those kind of supports. But they'll take care of raising their own funds and also taking care of the construction. So they're committed to raising those dollars, and they'll be here next month to present that opportunity to you in person. So I offer it tonight for information only, but I ask if you do have any questions since it's on the agenda. Any questions for tonight?
Questions, Frank? I just want to be clear with this. This is no money coming out of taxpayer funds.
That's correct.
Nothing coming from the school, no time or man hours from the school staff. And it's a great opportunity to get kids involved in sports within the community, introduce them to hockey, which isn't as big in this area as I think it could be, especially with the Caps right down the road. So, yeah, looks good. Look forward to seeing it come back up in March.
Thank you. They're great partners, and I know our community benefits quite a bit from that being there. So thank you. We look forward to doing that again next month. So finally, I'd like to introduce Tiffany Chapman to come up. Ms. Chapman is our purchasing and accounts payable supervisor to talk with you about RFP and IFB processes. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, members of the committee, Dr. Hummer. You guys are probably familiar with these slides as we've gone over them a couple of times, but just wanted to do a quick recap as we're headed into next week's board meeting on the difference between a request for proposal and a invitation for bid. So request for proposals, which is what you're familiar with as that we're doing for the fourth high school for the A&E. Those are used when the scope or work specifications are not entirely clear or well-defined. We want the vendors to propose an idea to us of how to solve our problem. So the process for that, typically we will publish the RFP. I will work with the account manager to formulate what we call our scope, what we want the vendors to provide to us. And then we will publish the RFP document. We do publish that on both eVirginia, which is the state's public procurement site, as well as our FCPS website. The RFP document includes things like the due date when they're supposed to submit their proposals, the length of the contract period, and any renewals that are available through the contract, the product or service, of course, that we want them to provide to us, and the evaluation criteria that they'll be rated on. Once those proposals are in, we do have an evaluation committee for RFPs that are made up of staff members. Those evaluation committee members take the proposals that come in and they do read through all of them and evaluate them and score them based on the evaluation criteria that was provided to the vendors in the RFP document. Once those initial reviews and scores are completed, we do choose the top ranked offers and bring them in for interviews and presentations. And once that's done, we do complete a final ranking. The committee will re-rank all of the vendors that were in to determine which is the successful offer. Once we have chosen that vendor, we do negotiate with them until we can agree on the contract terms. The invitation for bid process is slightly different from the RFP process. IFBs are used when the specifications are clear and well-defined. We know exactly what we want, how many we want, and how we want them to give it to us. The creation of the IFB is similar to an RFP where I would be working with the account manager to create the scope for the project. We do provide the same information in, basic information in the IFB document. We do have a due date in there when they're supposed to submit their bid, the contract period and the renewals that are available, the product and service or product or service that we're looking for. The evaluation criteria for the IFB is different than the RFP, where IFBs we are simply looking for the low bid, and then the completion date that we expect them to finish the project. IFBs are also posted out on eVirginia as well as the FCPS website. And the awards are done by review by the purchasing staff for responsiveness. So I'm checking to make sure that the vendor has provided us all of the documentation that we were looking for. And then, of course, we are awarding to the lowest bid. Any questions for me?
Question for you? One question, with the RFP process, Fourth High School in particular, where are we at? I think I know where we're at. I just wanted to make sure we didn't jump too far ahead.
Yes. No. So we have worked through the process and worked through negotiations, and we should have an award for you next week at the school board meeting.
Great, great. And lastly, I just want to say thank you for all the work you do. I mean, you make the presentation look really easy, but I know, working with Shane and Dr. Hummer, that there's a lot that goes into this, and I know you're probably juggling a lot of plates, and your team is as well. So thank you for all you're doing. I just wanted to make that publicly known that I really appreciate all the work you're putting in. So thank you.
Anything else? Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Chapman. Dr. Hummer, at this time, I've returned us to the agenda. I'd like to thank our team and thank you for everyone who came to the meeting tonight and our committee, and I turn it back over to you, sir.
All right, thank you. I also want to share the same sentiments as thanks to everybody that came out this evening. There's a lot of hard work happening behind the curtain, and thank you to the committee members for recognizing that. Our team's working very hard to get you this information. So with that, Mr. Chair, that's all we had, unless you have any other questions.
Anything, Frank?
No.
All right. Well, that's the end of it. Do I have a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
All right, I'll second. All those in favor of adjournment signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? None. Passes. We're adjourned.